We in Massachusetts have had same-sex marriage forced upon us for 7 years now. And the first level of impact is in our schools. From kindergarten through 12th grade and beyond, our children are being indoctrinated on same-sex marriage and the rightness, the correctness of homosexuality.
The beginning of 2005, our son Jacob was going into kindergarten, and he came home with a diversity book bag. And in the diversity book bag was a book entitled Who's in a Family by Robert Scutch, and that introduces children to same-sex households.
Back in March of this year, our son came home Friday afternoon and bounded in the front door and said, "Mom, Dad, guess what? Our teacher read us the funniest book. It was so silly. It was about a prince who was getting married, but he didn't marry a princess. He married a prince." That afternoon, we sent the teacher an email message. The teacher called back and said that yes, it was a book about two princes who got married. King and King. It's a story that introduces the idea of men having a romantic relationship and getting married. We were shocked.
And your son is how old?
He's 7 years old, in 2nd grade.
And they read this book to him?
Yes, in the formal classroom setting with this teacher as an authority figure presenting this concept as something that is good and right and the way things should be.
After the diversity book bag came home, we realized that the intention of the administrators and teachers was to affirm these relationships and gay marriage in the minds of children. When we went into the school, what we requested is parental notification when these issues are brought up by adults within the school, and the option to opt our child out of this type of indoctrination.
And then she said, well, she had checked with the administrators and they had said that this was not a parental notification issue.
One of the reasons they give is they said same-sex marriage is legal in Massachusetts. Therefore, we can broach it anytime with your child.
So when she would not acknowledge our parental rights in this area, we then went to our Judeo-Christian beliefs and our faith and said, well, you wish to affirm homosexuality to our son. You're presenting that which is sin as though it is not to our son, and we cannot allow that.
To make a long story short, the accommodation they gave was to put me in handcuffs and send me to jail. And they were willing to handcuff a father and send him to jail. It was a 6x8 cell, filthy. But, you know, I felt I didn't have a choice at that point in order to fulfill my role and duty as a father. So we filed a lawsuit. Long story short, the district court said that they didn't think we have a parental right to be notified in this.
The federal court judge Mark Wolf ruled to dismiss our case. Every citizen should take the time to go read his judgment. He spoke about this book, Changing Minds, in which, to paraphrase, he believes that it's the school's job to change the minds of the young children, that they are indeed young and impressionable.
So it's translating directly into what the courts did on gay marriage, and then teaching the children it's okay. And in fact, you could be gay too. I even put this concern to the chairman at the time of the school committee. A little girl saying, "I love my girlfriend, I must be gay." And he said, "David, I have no problem with that whatsoever, about children being told this and thinking they're gay at a very early age."
One mother shared with me how she and her son were out doing yard work, and a neighborhood child came up and asked at the age of 6 or 7 years old if it was all right for this little boy to marry her son when he grew up. And the mother was aghast and said, well, no, of course not. That wouldn't be right. And the little boy said, "Oh, yes, in Massachusetts, I can marry a man when I grow up."
Children and teenagers are at a time in life where they're still figuring out who they are and what they like, and their identity is still evolving. And so when they begin to label themselves as homosexual, gay, or lesbian, bisexual, when they adopt those labels at a time in life when they're still evolving, that can have the effect of closing out other options for themselves.
My name is Brian Kamaker. I'm president of Mass Resistance, pro-family group in Massachusetts. Here's an example of something that was that was at Brookline High, the little black book, Queer in the 21st Century. This was picked up at Brookline High School at a gathering of teachers and kids pushing the gay agenda at that school. This is so disgusting that I can't really read it to you. It tells kids how to safely perform a variety of homosexual sex acts. It tells where you can meet other kids who are homosexual or homosexual men. It was published by the AIDS Action Committee with money, as it says, from the Boston Department of Health, the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and other groups that get public money. The Holy Grail is same-sex marriage is legal, therefore you can't stop us from talking about it.